your phone is on.
I know. I'm
Unprofessional.
sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to do that.
All right. So today we have a lady we met at the what was the museum called? The Museum of Science.
Ashville Museum of Science.
The Ashville Museum of Science in Asheville, of all places.
And we are talking to Miss Hannah Strickland. I got that correct?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Congratulations. Most people I work with don't remember my name, so.
Hey.
Mark, you want a prize?
Hey, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Back to the museum we are. So to give everybody a little bit of background, about a couple weeks ago, at the beginning of April, Thomas and I and a couple of our friends.
This was like the middle of April.
Well, okay, somewhere around there for sure.
It was like the 12th.
Oh, yeah, okay.
12th to
All right. Okay, I got it. We took a trip to North Carolina, to Lake Lure, North Carolina, and it was a beautiful sight, and it was awesome. And along the way, we went to downtown Asheville, where the Ashville Museum of Science is located.
Well, you know what was really funny about that day specifically was we went to Mount Mitchell, which was it's like you can drive up it, right? So that's the thing. And
also, you can get to Mount Mitchell from this location in like 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We went there on the way to Asheville. So we had friends who saw the science museum, and they were like, "Oh, we got to be here, but it closes at 6. We got to make sure we're fast."
Yeah.
And they were getting like upset because we were like, "This mountain is awesome." They were like, "We got to be there, guys. We got to do it." And they were, oh my gosh, they're like, "We can't stop for anything. We got to get there." And we got there.
Yes, we did.
We were a little surprised.
Yes. So actually, what's funny? So my first question, was there a specific? So everything closes there pretty early.
Yeah. So
is that mainly because of the light? Because it gets pretty dark out.
No, it's more so. We are
I don't know. I think
it gets friendly
pretty
location,
dark.
and there are like
there are no lights when
you don't think they have lights in Nashville, bro?
There are no. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
But we're a family-friendly location, and there are a lot of surrounding bars. So we just want to make sure that everybody in our museum is in a safe space, especially as it gets later, and there are more intoxicated people out and about.
Yes, as two people who live in Florida, the let me see, like crazy people ratio is quite high around 7 o'clock.
Quite.
Asheville is very similar.
I remember there was one guy in specific who we were just walking over to the museum, and he looked at our friend Tyler, and he just started saying like he was quoting a book or something.
Oh yeah.
And then he got really mad at cars, like just cars driving by. He was yelling and cursing at them, and I was like, "That man looks like he is a peruser of drugs."
Yes. And to bring it back of what Thomas said, so we were quite surprised when we walked in. So you guys told us that you guys were still working on it. Was that correct?
We are small and growing because we are a nonprofit, so we have to fund everything through grants and ourselves. So the profit that we make through the museum goes directly back into the museum. So we are currently trying to take over the Wells Fargo bank that is directly next to us to expand our exhibits and our space.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So we remember seeing that space right next to you guys. Are they using that space, or what? Because it looked pretty empty.
So because of COVID, I believe you have to make appointments for that bank.
Oh, okay. I see.
Wells Fargo.
All right.
Wells Fargo. Not even a BB&T.
Yeah, man. They'll sponsor us. Whatever, man.
What is this?
But we honestly had a really great time going in there.
Oh wait, I think we should clarify. The thing that surprised us was the museum is for small children.
Oh yes,
it is for mostly the littler people. And they were so nice when we got there. We understand you might have been confused. So they offered us our money back. We were like, "Nah, we'll stay here. We'll chill. We'll check it out."
We had a blast.
We had a pretty good time for like the hour we were there.
They had
a little playground there, and they were like, "You guys can go in there because it can hold roughly like 13 middle schoolers."
And for 4 fellows that were up there, that was probably the equivalent of already 13.
Yeah. So there's been at least 5 interns in there that I know of at one. So it can hold a good bit.
Yeah, all the boys climbed up there. No girls allowed.
We honestly it took us back.
They had this water exhibit that was really cool, where you could make a dam with a bunch of like little rock pieces. Now that was really fun.
That was a great. We would take like the figures that you guys had, and we would race them. And we would always get upset that the water current just wouldn't help like work with us. We're like, come on, man.
But
so one of our after school programs, we did engineering, and it was build a boat, and a lot of the kids raced them and see who would win. Because it's the replica of the French Broad River, we like did the start of the river to the end of the river, and they loved that.
Oh yeah, it's honestly the best.
No, it was really cool. I really liked the magnet one too. The one that showed it had like slivers of
nanos.
That's
what the nano exhibit. Yeah.
That was really cool.
You also had these little pieces that you would make where like when the whole world was basically connected into one.
Oh, Pangea.
Yeah, yes. And I remember me and Thomas were putting it together, and we just could not figure it out because we were like, why are we having such a hard time with this?
Pangea is so like 13 billion years ago.
Oh my God, I couldn't even put the pieces together. I was so frustrated. And you guys had really nice designs of because you guys had all the birthstones for every month, which was really nice.
your like rock exhibit.
Yeah, our Hall of Minerals and Gemstones.
Pretty
with the scavenger hunts.
I really enjoyed the thing that was the exhibit that was like, these rocks will kill you.
I'll
write these down for future use.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. And some of my favorite things to bring up with like our field trips and the kids is like, these could technically kill you, and that's so fun.
If you were to refine it and then activate it with another sort of substance, it could kill you.
Yeah. Or even just inhale the dust straight.
If you heavily irradiated this substance, it would kill you.
And then you actually had these little magnets that we would have to get from the desk. And so I remember.
With.
Oh yeah, I spent a good at least 15 to 20 minutes just trying to build something with them. I just had a blast. We had a honestly great blast.
I know. We were like, all right, we're gonna be 8 for a couple minutes.
Yeah, I think we spent like an hour probably in the exhibit, and then another maybe 30 minutes at the gift store. Just we were there for so long.
You guys have a wind tube there, and I remember I closed myself in there as a joke. I was like, guys, look, I'm stuck. And then my friend put the $2 in there before I could get out, and I was like, oh, now I'm actually stuck.
we're gonna have to find that video again, because I think I have it of you like.
It's just me like, oh, I guess this is it now.
Oh man. And so we want to know really like what started your concept and the whole idea of who started thinking of the ideas of making the museum. Because how old are you guys now?
So we have been in this building since 2016, but we've been in existence since the 1960s.
Wow.
Yeah. So we got started by a man named Burnham S. Colburn and his collection of rocks and minerals. He was actually a banker who moved here in the 20s. I have gathered as much information as I could from my fellow museum employees, but I'm their most recent addition to our team.
Gotcha.
So I don't have all of the information, but I do know that we started in the 60s on, I believe, Cox Avenue as a mineral and gem collection of Mr. Colburn. And then in 1972, we moved to the Civic Center, which is now the Harris Cherokee Casino Center, I believe. I think they bought that out in like 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved to the basement of Pax Place, which is where the art museum was located, in 92. And we were there until 2016. And we changed our name in 2002 to the Colburn Earth Science Museum.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2016, we moved to this location that we're at currently with another name change of the Ashville Museum of Science. And we're trying to branch out into more sciences than just gem and minerals.
Right. Is there any ones in particular you guys are currently working on right now to expand on?
So we are actually working on a new exhibit that I can't say much about called Women in STEM, where it focuses on women and minorities in STEM education and like bringing to light some of the figures that have fallen through history's gaps in STEM education.
Oh yeah, amazing. I had some when I was in freshman at high school. I had to read a book about Henrietta Lacks.
Yeah,
she was like super important and got no recognition, and that was terrible.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to bring to light is the women in STEM that kind of didn't get any recognition and ones that are currently in STEM.
Yeah. There was, I mean, I feel like the hardest part about that book was they talk about how like a common thing was doctors would just take like homeless people off the streets and just like do whatever to them.
Yeah, they were like best bunnies for all modern medicine.
Yeah, it was like if we needed like organs for an organ transplant or something, that was it. And I was like, first off, I mean, like that's kind of like it's a wrong on a bunch of levels, but it happened, and I'm like, dang, that's tough.
Very, very. But I'm
glad it doesn't happen anymore.
No, yeah, and we're glad that you guys are putting in that effort to expand upon that. And
no, it's really cool.
Awesome.
The more we get that, the more people deserve this recognition.
For sure. So, and you guys run a couple of programs for students, like you said. How did that become about? Did that start when you guys had moved into the facility you are in now?
So, to my best guess of what I've learned, it did. We have our lead educator, Abigail Malmborg, who runs our after-school program, which runs, we had a winter one, we had a fall one, and then we had a spring one this spring as well. But I don't think those like really got off and going until we opened back up after COVID.
Right.
Schools weren't fully opened and they needed more education available. So that I believe so.
How was COVID for you guys? Did it hit really hard?
It hit quite hard because we, again, are a nonprofit and that basically shut us down for all of our revenue. But it also gave us a chance to really improve on our exhibits that we do have and learn more about that instead of focusing so much on new ones and customers and like customer service and all that. We could focus on getting information and learning about the exhibits that we do have and writing it all down. And then we opened back up in September of last year, I believe, and that's when we started going again.
And do you have a particular field of science that you're best in?
So I do environmental science and also mechanics and engineering.
Oh, that's
very
cool.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
So what brought you to start at the museum?
So I started at the museum as a work from NC Works, a Goodwill program that they run. I got an internship here to introduce me to the workforce of the field I wanted to study in. So I go to AB Tech and dual enroll in their GED program in that, and that's how I got introduced to the museum.
Very nice, very nice. That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, and so how so you said you've been with the museum for how many years?
I haven't been with the museum for any years. I started earlier this year.
Oh, okay. Oh. When did you start?
I started at the beginning of January.
Oh, wow, yeah. So you're still pretty new.
Yeah, huh? I am the newest one.
Very nice. I love that we got you out of all of them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Cool, right?
You know,
they decided to stick the one that knows the least, but at the same point in time knows a good bit because I have a fairly decent memory.
Yeah, I feel like 3 months is a good enough time to get the grasp.
Yeah, and it's really nice because I mean, we just like we were, you know, we started off with just being us, and we just had to learn from there, and then from there having people like you who just came into a new environment. That's also really nice too, to see that like everybody's always new into some element, and then they grow into learning into something, no matter how long they've been there. So that's
nobody ever stops learning. Everybody's always a lifelong student because there's always something new you can figure out and learn.
Exactly.
And are you a native in North Carolina?
I am. I moved here from East Tennessee when I was 2, and I've been here ever since.
Very nice, very nice. How much have you seen, probably not just Lake Laura, but just the whole area change since you've been there?
It's changed quite a bit, especially within the recent years. It started getting more populated as the downtown area has started expanding.
Right.
So there is way more people here, which is great for businesses, but it also is terrible for the environment as well in some aspects.
Right.
Because it kind of ruins natural terrain and the ecosystem. But it hasn't changed as much as one would think, because the downtown district has just contained to their little spot. It's just gotten a little bigger.
Right.
And then the Blue Ridge Mountains have been in the same state that they had been since I was a kid. So that was kind of nice. Pollution levels have just gone up, but
Got you.
It's changed some, but not as much as you would think.
Yeah.
And yeah, when we were there, we saw some construction, which was almost a little odd because we get construction all the time around here because it's just
Florida's been under construction since 1868.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
but to see it over there is just kind of strange because you guys are just surrounded by just nature in general. So to see like cranes really high up, I'm like, what is this doing here? This should not be here. Has it? How long has it been since they've been like working on? I'm assuming it's just been only a couple of years since they've just been developing new things around downtown specifically.
Yeah. So I started noticing things getting developed downtown in 2014 or 15.
Gotcha.
But also, I always say locals avoid downtown unless you work here or you want to eat here.
Got you.
But that's when I started noticing development in downtown become very more so serious than it was in previous years.
Mm-hmm. But
it's kind of ruining the ecosystem a little.
Got you.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's good things like your program and where you are to kind of be there in those areas. I think we need definitely more of those.
I feel like in recent years, conservation has become a lot more mainstream. I know. Pollution is still a problem, but more people are recycling today than ever before.
Yeah.
And stuff, and I mean, there's a bigger focus on electric cars and talks about like nuclear energy using thorium's coming back.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Dude, I love the words. This is
fantastic. Because people like nuclear energy typically uses uranium, but thorium is way cooler.
Oh my
goodness! It's like twice as good and
doesn't
give as much waste. I mean, the only like pollution of nuclear waste of nuclear energy is the waste, but we put those in barrels and bury them in the desert, so we'll be good.
Hey,
some nuclear waste has islands that it winds up in, and sometimes when the sea level rises, it kind of creates an island that's coming into the ocean, and nuclear waste is now into the ocean a little bit.
So theoretically, if I swim in that beach, what are my chances of getting superpowers?
I wouldn't say very high.
Oh, dang,
but that's not zero.
Hey, okay,
but that's not zero.
Not very high.
Zero.
But not high
not
enough.
Not high enough.
Not high enough.
Not high enough.
Yeah.
That's the 100%.
Okay.
There's still a chance.
I support you all the way.
He will not be the next Superman, but I don't know.
Oh. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Thomas might be Superman in a couple days.
I'm like, oh man, it gave me super, like.
What would the power be?
I don't know. I'd be like.
Nuclear waste coming out of your hands.
But it also helps the environment.
In the span of 15 minutes, I can release a tablespoon of nuclear waste from my fingertips.
And then you got to recharge for the next day because you got to save. You got to conserve energy. Is there anything in the museum that you guys try to do as far as just like, working on, conserving and saving the environment?
I actually have recently adopted one of our exhibits, the tree climb that you guys were talking about earlier, to kind of talk more about how you can yourself, like you and little kids, help the environment. Because I work here and I also volunteer at Appalachian Wild, which is an animal rehab and rescue center. So I have the information from that, and I can like talk about how you can help the animals and conserve the natural state of the world and try and be a better human by saving the planet one little squirrel at a time.
Oh, for sure.
What's your favorite animal?
Oh, that's a tough question. Can I like zone it into Western North Carolina animals?
Yes. I will allow it this one.
Thank you. Then I would have to say otters. Otters are hands down one of my favorite animals.
Otters are pretty flipping cool.
Nice.
They're fantastic.
We went to a zoo not too far from Asheville, and we got to see an otter doing his thing, swimming and going through hoops and stuff.
Yeah, man.
It's like, man,
the dream
to be an otter.
Yeah, I remember when I was a little kid, for my 7th birthday, I wanted to go to the nature center because they finally had otters. And that was one of my favorite trips ever because I learned all about otters, and I still remember it.
Have you seen the video of Ewan McGregor? Like, look, there's otters over there. They get the rock and they break the shells with the rock and they eat what's inside.
Yeah, because otters have pet rocks that they keep in their armpit flaps.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, that's fantastic.
Dude, that's so cool.
I love that.
Mark, what's your favorite animal?
I'm a big fan of penguins.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about them that reminds me of me.
You ever seen Surf's Up?
Oh yeah,
Those
bro.
are the coolest penguins I've ever seen in my life.
Amazing.
Those are the best penguins.
Those are
Yeah,
super-
bro. I feel like if I
great
ever
movie.
came back to this world, I would be a penguin, but I'd be like a penguin that like knew how to tap.
Peng-
So I'd be like
oh,
a human trait that I carry.
Look,
No.
You
Yes,
cannot,
of course. No, you
you
can't.
cannot say I
It
want.
was proven.
Look, you cannot see I want to
Happy
be a
Feet
penguin.
proves
No, you can look. You cannot say I want to be a
that you
penguin
can
and then,
tap.
and then be a penguin from the worst penguin movie.
What? What's the best penguin movie?
Surf's Up.
Okay,
Mr. Popper's Penguins.
Surf's Up is good. What was the one you said?
Mr. Popper's Penguins.
What's the,
Oh, that is also
that's
another
good
one. I
penguin
totally
movie.
forget about that
But
one.
on the list of
I
penguins,
love that movie.
Happy Feet's definitely towards the bottom, if not.
Wow,
the
is
bottom.
it really? I didn't even know.
Have you ever seen Happy Feet?
I have.
How long ago?
Like a long time ago.
That's the key. You gotta watch it again.
All right, I guess I gotta watch it again.
But
Dang.
I still think Happy Feet's a good movie.
Hey,
my dogs are arguing with each other about this right now.
they're probably like Happy Feet's better, or Mr. Popper's Penguins is better right now. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're just like,
Oh yeah.
typically they just kind of lie down and do their thing. Because we're doing an interview, they're like, let's fight. Let's just
Yeah, I think they're really.
Let's cause chaos.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, and then
Well, like they're fighting. It's just they roll around on the floor and they try to roll on top of each other. And I guess that's what they do. Whoever does that wins.
yeah, and
And they sneeze on top of it. They sneeze all over each other, right?
Oh,
That's just what they do.
we definitely are working towards getting this show visually. So to have this happen in front of us and not it being recorded in a video sense is definitely
Do
very
you think
sad.
it's gonna pick up?
I don't know. It's hard to
It
tell.
just might be in the background. You might. Yeah. Oh my God, guys, stop.
We apologize.
Okay, we're gonna have to cut this out again.
Just so you're good.
All right.
way.
We're
They try to
sorry.
kill each other.
Yeah, we have a couple more things that we definitely want to cover. It's been fantastic so far. We still miss going back there already. We're already having the blues because we loved it so much when we were over
Well,
there.
you gotta come back then, because
I know we have
they're
to.
so awesome, and we're
It was super
always developing and expanding.
Oh yeah.
The place we had an Airbnb right up by the mountains, and we were able to just like second we open our eyes in the morning, it was like boom, it's right there.
Yeah. And you guys have a distinct smell. I don't know where it comes
It's
from.
mountain smell, dude.
Do you know what that is? Because I don't know.
So, if I'm remembering correctly, it was actually still slightly cold when you guys came. So
it was
would be-
mad cold
Yeah,
actually.
it was one day.
So, if you ask anybody from the south and or the mountains area, you can smell when it's cold and you can smell when it's going to rain. So it was probably that, and I don't know what causes it honestly, but you can smell the difference in the air when it's going to rain.
That's so
Well,
crazy.
it's similar to Florida. You can smell when it's gonna rain here because it's so humid here, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you get outside, you can feel it in your hands. Like if you just brush your hand by, you can feel it. So when you sometimes you can really just smell when you're like, oh, it's gonna rain, because we get like cloudy weather all the time. So it'd be hard to tell whether that's like storm clouds or not. But you can kind of really just like smell if it's the humidity's high enough. You're like, yeah, it's definitely gonna rain in a couple minutes here.
Yeah.
I thought that was honestly really cool. Like as soon as we got there, like I smelled something.
That would be
I
my
was like, what
superpower.
the-
I can smell
Oh yeah,
when it's
the
gonna
waste
rain.
power.
I can smell when it's gonna rain,
That's
yeah.
the power you get whenever you're okay. That's fantastic. I love that.
My
Big
superpower
power.
is I can cook minute rice in 58
Oh,
seconds.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Good one. Very useful skill.
I like that. If you had a power, what would it be
Oh gosh.
in terms of saving the planet?
The power to be saved to planet. That's what.
No, that's a good power. That's a powerful power though. You guys gotta.
So if I can't just like dead copy Captain Planet and or Poison Ivy, it's in between the two.
including
really-
the insane part.
I'm sorry?
Isn't that Poison Ivy's thing? Like it drove her crazy.
Yeah, but
I can deal with that. Yeah,
She's like,
whatever.
pro con,
I
save
can
the
fuck-
environment.
go a little crazy, kill a few people, whatever.
really drive her crazy. She just liked plants more than humans, and humans were causing the environment to be ruined.
Yeah,
Therefore, she hated humans.
You never see plants doing that to the environment.
No,
You never see
no.
plants ruining the environment.
That'd be a real kickback.
That'd be a real. Yeah, it'd be a
Because
real
invasive
right.
species will ruin natural environment of the place they're invading. So
Oh, that's
it's doing ruin.
in Florida, for example. What is the peninsula?
Yes.
That's been like people get snakes all the time, and of course you don't want a snake anymore. You can throw it in your backyard. Or the Everglades, not the peninsula.
The Burmese python invasion.
Yes.
Because everybody really doesn't realize that they get very large.
Yes.
They'll just release them out into their wild, but they're not from there.
Absolutely destroyed the ecosystem over there.
Wow.
And a couple of years ago, I think I don't know if it's annual or anything, but they made a competition for hunters, like, kill X amount of pythons and stuff and help stabilize the environment. I think they did it, and it was hardly a success because there were just so many pythons.
Wow.
There was a ton, because when they give birth to like over a dozen, I think.
So I believe the biggest clutch of eggs that they can possibly have at one time would be 20, I think.
Yeah.
If I remember it correctly.
I think so. I think I remember Steve Irwin talking about that.
What is their biggest setback as far as destroying the environment?
They eat rodents like bunnies and squirrels and stuff, and other animals that are supposed to eat those don't eat them.
Right.
Yeah, and so they take away the food systems for the ones that are there that are supposed to eat them, but also the ones that they do eat can no longer eat the plants and native species that they're supposed to eat to keep it kind of cut back.
Right. Yeah. Must be a balance.
If the rabbits aren't there to cut down on the weed population, the weeds get bigger, and
must be a balance.
I remember where I live, there was for one day, bunch of bunnies, just a ton of bunnies. Then a couple of weeks later, bunch of snakes. Couple weeks after that, bunch of owls, and I was cool with the owls. I was like, owls eat snakes and rabbits, so that's why they showed up. One time, I was driving down the road, and I saw there's a snake in the road. Saw an owl pick it up, and it was flying away with it. It dropped it, and its carcass landed on my car's windshield.
Oh my goodness!
And I am not a fan of snakes. They're definitely my least favorite animal of all time. They freak me out.
Fantastic.
So I had it on my windshield, and I was like, oh no. I was like, that's it. I'm going to crash my car and explode. It's the only logical way to deal with this. I think my favorite animal's sea turtle.
Sea turtles?
Yeah.
That's a good choice.
It's a good choice. Great choice.
Sea turtles are a fantastic choice.
You remind me of a sea turtle.
There's that one turtle in like England. That's from 1850, I think, something like that. Or tortoise, sorry.
Are you talking about the Charles Darwin turtle?
Is that the one?
I'm asking you if that's the one you're referring to.
I think so.
We'll never know.
That one's been alive for a long time.
The Galapagos? Galapagos.
Sea turtles are rad.
I think you're right. I think that's the one. Imagine that's like, being from 1850 to 2021, all the changes in the world. That's like a civil.
That's what I call consistency.
That's a civil war, 2 world wars, the Cold War,
and just more wars.
Vietnam War.
Yeah, well, that was part.
They have no idea of man's inhumanity to man.
Oh my God, that's true, man.
They just live freely. I one day hope to live like that.
Do you have like a favorite book? What's your favorite quote from a book?
Oh God. I don't remember the book title because it was when I was young, but I remember my sister reading it to me, and it was, "The world will forever be in a state of change." So it won't stay changed. It won't stay.
I agree. That's definitely.
And within that, isn't that the only constant, that it will always change?
Yep.
All right. Mark, what about you?
My favorite quote?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
His favorite quote is, "The very hungry caterpillar ate an apple."
Yes, that's a good one.
That is his favorite.
Classic.
He's like, it's so deep.
Classic.
It
classic.
knows what he's doing.
It resonates me to this day, and I love it. Yeah. I don't know. That's a tough question. I never really thought about
Mark,
that.
First question. Have you ever read a book before?
Let's start from there. I had a question for you. So, it's everybody, I think, in some capacity are trying to do their best to help the environment in some way, whether it's conserving water.
Oh, absolutely.
Not using a lot of plastic. What would you say is your biggest thing that you hold on to dearly as far as you trying to help it? And then what would you say that if someone's not particularly very good or don't really know how to start as far as what they should do, what would you say would be a good way to conserve things and help the environment as a whole?
So the way I started conserving the environment was stop using single-use plastic, and then also thrift shopping instead of buying from stores. Because if you thrift shop, you will save I think it was 1 billion tons, maybe either a year or a month going into the ecosystem. But a really good way to start is just stop using as much as you can single-use plastic, because it's not even all plastic, because this is plastic, but it's multiple uses.
Right.
Not just like a plastic spoon that you can use once.
Yeah, I think we definitely take for granted just like some of the things that we can just have that just multiplies, and then we're just like, all right, we're done with it, and we just throw it away. And so that for sure.
I remember reading about some scientists developed, or they bioengineered a worm that could eat plastic. I don't remember seeing it going anywhere though. That'd be cool though.
I believe I know exactly what my favorite quote is.
Oh, is that your favorite quote? I read a study about a worm that can eat plastic.
Yeah, it's from you. I think I got it. Hold on. Let me just find it here.
What are you most excited for in the science world?
Honestly, the development of more minorities and women and LGBTQ being involved in the science world, because they're finally getting recognition that they deserve.
Is honestly the one of the biggest questions we were wondering, besides your future exhibits. So as far as maybe not as a whole like everybody, but what about for you, especially working there? What do you know, or as far as like what your goal and future is, as far as, you know, expanding the museum as a whole and trying to just create more for students in general and for consumers who come in and go into the museum?
Yeah, so my goal personally, like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but is to provide as much science education to everybody that I can. So that's learning the more intense topics for like the adults and teenagers, and learning how to simplify it for like the 4-year-olds and 10-year-olds that you can. So I work with our preschool program, Little Explorers Club, to where I teach the little ones all about science, and I have to figure out how to put it in a way that they can understand and comprehend. But I also work in our STEM lab during the weekends where we have themed education, to where I have little kids and I have adults I would like to know as much as I can. So it's kind of finding a balance in what topics will work well for both ages.
Right.
And I want to make sure that I can get the information to all ages and everybody that I can, to make them excited and ready for learning, and learning about science and learning how to help.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's gonna be great. And you know, we're really excited to see where you guys take the expansion as far as the museum as a whole. I think it's definitely a great source for that community as a whole. Just us being there really for the first time was just really nice to see. So that's really cool. No, I found it. I found my quote. Okay, so this is specifically an Olympic, like the Olympics quote, but like I love this quote so much. It says, "The most important thing in the Olympic Games is not winning, but taking part. The essential thing in life is not conquering, but fighting well."
That's true, Mark. That's a good one.
Yeah. Take that to heart very, very much. Yeah. So there we go. We all have our quotes, and now we just live by them. Love it. Love it.
I think it's that education, if you can find it, will always be readily available, even if you don't think you can do it. Because I lived my entire education career and system out of spite, because I was involved in a cult from a young age that didn't believe in education. So I have no public school education, no high school education. And I work in a science museum where I'm educating people. And I go to college where I got in entirely free, getting my degree in childhood education and environmental science. And that even if people tell you can't, you can find a way to do it. And there'll always be at least one person, moi, trying and encouraging you to do it, even if I physically am not there. Because education is one of the most important things somebody can learn. Because there is no limit on education, even if it's just book smarts or learning how to ride a bicycle, planting a seed and learning how to care for it. That's all education. Everything involves education. So I believe there's actually a donation option on our website, ashvillemuseumofscience.org, or you can always just donate to science and figure out a way to get involved in science, and that will be plenty. My name is Hannah Strickland, and this is the Power of 4 podcast.